Well, hello, everybody. My name is Darnell Self. I'm the Principal Network Advisor here with Legal Shield. And today I have the awesome honor and privilege to share with you the Legal Shield story. Not from theory, but from experience. You see, I was probably raised like most of you. My parents told me to go to school, get the good grades, get out and get a good job. And I did that. In fact, I went to 2 colleges. It took me about 7.5 years to get my 4-year degree. And I know I'm not the only one that was on the 7-year program. But it wasn't my fault. I was every major, you name it, I was it. I was pre-med in zoology and psychology and radio, television, and film. In fact, whatever your major was, I probably was too. And I never forget, I went to my advisor in my 7th year and I said, listen, what do I need to do to graduate? And she looked at all of my credits and she says, first of all, you have enough credits for 3 people to graduate with you. She said, second of all, if you take a major in PR, public relations, you actually have enough to graduate right now. And I said, you mean like today? And she said, yeah. I said, great, that'll be my degree. And so that's how I got out of college. I played the resume game. I went to job fairs. However, my experience working at the mall actually outweighed my degree from college. And so I couldn't afford to take a pay cut just to say I had a job in my degree. And so I didn't. I stayed there at the mall. And if you ever worked retail, you probably know my hours. We call it a stretch. That means you open up the mall when it opens and you close it when it closes. And as a manager, when people called in sick, I had to go in. And the weekends weren't mine because in retail, the most important times are weekends. And so I missed everything that happened in my personal life. My kids' sporting events were on the weekends. Family reunions, always on the weekends. My kids' birthday parties typically celebrated on the weekends. And so I said, no way am I going to do this for the rest of my life. I was in my 20s at the time. And back then, retirement was 55. And that's old when you're in your 20s. Now, I'm in my 40s now, so it's right around the corner. But my point is, I stepped out on faith in my 20s to start some entrepreneurial ventures. Didn't make any money. And when Legal Shield came along, I was a little hesitant, not because of Legal Shield, but because of all the things I'd done before. I was painting this picture with the same brush, but I read a book on wealth that encouraged me. It said the average millionaire gained that wealth after the 7th or 8th different venture. I said, man, I have about 4 more things I can try then. And thank God we haven't had to do anything else. We found a home here with Legal Shield. My wife and I haven't had to work a job since we were in our 20s. It's been a blessing for our families. And so today, it's my honor, my privilege to share with you the story of Legal Shield. Listen, we're going to talk about 3 things today. The first thing is who we are. I believe it's important to be aligned with something that's as credible as your name. All you have is your word, your name. You lose that, you lose everything. And we'll talk about the credibility of Legal Shield. Secondly, what we do, we're filling a very significant void called the justice system. And we all know the real color of justice is not black, white, or any other color but green. And the average person can't afford access to it at $300 an hour. And so we're leveling that legal playing field for the first time in North America. Number 3, why are so many people joining us right now? You'll see that by the end of this short presentation. Now, when I first took a look at Legal Shield, I'm thinking to myself, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I don't really need a lawyer, but bad things happen to good people too. I mean, good people sign contracts and documents and later on wished they wouldn't have signed those things. Good people are treated unfairly, taken advantage of, overcharged for repairs. It's like you take your car to the mechanic and there's one problem wrong. Go to pick it up, mysteriously, there's 2 other problems wrong. Like it's smoking now, but wasn't smoking when you took it. And so these are all issues that happen to everyday people. Received a traffic ticket, or should have. And so it's not if you disobey the speed limit, it's just when you get caught. I've been with Legal Shield now for years, and I can't tell you how many of my friends and family call me and say, hey, Darnell, you still doing the legal thing? That's what they call it. And I said, yeah. And they said, well, I need the service because it's not if, it's just when. So we all need access to something like this. And when you need access to a lawyer, you're going to need Legal Shield. Legal Shield gives you the ability to talk to an attorney on any personal matter without having to worry about the high hourly costs. So for one flat monthly fee, you have access to a lawyer no matter if it's a trivial or a traumatic situation. And so with Legal Shield, we offer peace of mind. So let's watch a quick video that'll give you a little bit more information about Legal Shield.
For more than 40 years, Legal Shield has been revolutionizing the legal services industry. Revolutionizing the legal services industry? That doesn't quite capture the personal, lasting impact we have made and continue to make on thousands of individuals' lives. Imagine having an everyday concern or question where getting the advice of an attorney would be useful. Imagine the trauma of discovering that you are the victim of identity theft. Imagine encountering a situation where the advice of an attorney is absolutely imperative. Now imagine addressing all that stress with one phone call. That's what we do for you at Legal Shield. You can speak to an attorney without the worry of having to pay an attorney's typical fees. And together with our identity theft services, we provide you with a shield that results in powerful peace of mind. We were founded in 1972 by Harlan Stonecipher. He had just endured his own stressful, costly encounter with the legal system after a car accident that was not his fault. He was determined to make legal protection available to everyone, everywhere. Today, we have evolved into the force for good that Mr. Stonecipher originally envisioned. Based in Ada, Oklahoma, we have approximately 700 employees with a customer service team of more than 300, all focused on calibrating the efforts of our dedicated law firms and approximately 6,900 attorneys in the United States and Canada. Each law firm is there for our members, providing the legal help they need when they need it. So, for one low monthly membership fee, you can pick up the phone to call an attorney and get advice about any issue. We provide these legal services to families all across North America, answering approximately 40,000 calls per week from members. That's right, 40,000 times a week, we help smooth out the knots, kinks, and inconveniences in our members' lives. The attorneys at our law firms average 19 years of experience and have been partnering with us an average of 13 years. They are friendly, warm, and dedicated to helping Legal Shield members. And just as we partner with an expert law firm for every state, we also partner with Kroll Advisory Solutions, the world-renowned leader in identity theft protection. That way, no matter what issue you might face, you're getting the help you need with Legal Shield. What we do is simple. We work hard to make your life less complicated, less stressful, and more fulfilling. That's why with Legal Shield, you can worry less and live more.
So you may be asking yourself, why have millions of people call our law firms? Well, one, just for advice and consultation. They're ready to pick up the phone on a family matter, automobile issue, financial, IRS, home. I never forget the month before I joined Legal Shield. I was in bad financial shape. In fact, my home was up for foreclosure. And the banks were calling my house using language I wasn't familiar with at the time. They were saying things like mortgage modification, short sales, forbearance. All that was foreign language to me in my 20s. And I stopped answering the phone, honestly, because back then caller ID was out and they had a 1-800 number. My friends didn't have 1-800 numbers. And so the bottom line is I stopped answering the phones. I never thought about calling a lawyer back then. I didn't know about Legal Shield, but my thought was if I had the money to call a lawyer, I would just pay for my mortgage. In other words, I was weighing my checkbook against my rights. With Legal Shield, you don't have to worry about that. We get advice and we give consultation on any personal matter. Not only do you have personal legal advice for unlimited issues, you even have 24-hour, 7-day-a-week emergency access for covered situations if you're being questioned, detained, or arrested. I never forget I had a member of mine who shared a story with me. He said his son was playing on a trampoline over the weekend, fell off, got seriously hurt, wouldn't stop crying, so we rushed him to the hospital. He said while he was in the trauma area with his wife, his son, different people kept coming back in the trauma area asking questions. So he said the next person that came back was some official asking questions. And so he says, can I ask why so many different people have come back to take a look at our son and why you're asking me so many questions? And he said this official said to him, we hate to tell you this, but it looks like it could be a case of child abuse. We're going to have to ask you some further questions. And he said he got so upset because he loves his child, didn't do anything to him. And his wife says, calm down, honey. They're already accusing you of abuse. Not the right time to get upset. So he shares his story with me. He says, I walked down the hospital hallway to calm down because I was so upset. He said, I forgot I had Legal Shield. I was so emotional. I'd only had the membership for 1 week. He said, my coworker shared it with me. But he said, as time went by, he remembered he had this Legal Shield membership. So he picks up the phone. He ended up speaking with a lawyer. And his lawyer asked him a bunch of questions. You know, what hospital are you in? Have you answered any questions so far? He said, go back, sit with your wife and your son, and I'll call the hospital. He said about 10 minutes went by and the curtain moved back in the trauma area where they were sitting. And he said the gentleman had on a suit and a tie and identified himself in administrative offices of the hospital and said, listen, we heard from your lawyer and we want to apologize. I'm not sure why the story turned in this direction, but we'll treat your son, we'll take care of him. And this gentleman sharing a story with me who was emotional, and I can appreciate that. I have 4 kids. I would be emotional as well. And he says, I can't believe that my coworker was so persistent in sharing this story with me about Legal Shield. He said the first week I told him I need to talk to my wife because we make decisions together. And he said the Legal Shield associate, my friend, my coworker, honored that. And the second week I told my wife said yes, and I'm excited about it, but I need one more week to get paid. And the third week, he said, I ended up getting the Legal Shield membership. But he said, while I was sitting there in that trauma area with my wife and my son, he said, I couldn't help but to think at that moment, what if I told my coworker, give me one more week? He said, where would they have taken my son that night? And where would they have taken me that night? He said, my wife would have been sitting there by herself. He said, Legal Shield is more than just access to lawyers. It's access to peace of mind. And that's what we all have access to with Legal Shield. Our lawyers will also write a letter or make a phone call on your behalf. And of course, a lawyer writing a letter or making a phone call means a lot more than you and I writing that same letter or making that same phone call. I never forget my wife and I received a postcard in the mail for my homeowner's insurance. And it said, we need you to update the daycare you have in your house. Well, there's only one problem with that, and that is we don't have a daycare. We have 4 children, and when their cousins come over, it looks like a daycare, but it's not. So I asked my wife, hey, you should call just in case they're overcharging us on our homeowner's insurance. And so she made the phone call, and she found out, one, that yes, they were charging us for a daycare. So my wife says, well, we don't have a daycare. And the lady on the other end of the phone says, well, ma'am, in our records, it shows you have a home business. So my wife says, we do. It's called Legal Shield. It's not a daycare. And they go back and forth for a little bit. So my wife says, well, how long have you all been charging us? And the lady says, for 3 years. So my wife says, well, that's not fair. And the lady says, well, we can't reimburse you, but we can stop it from this point. Well, my wife says, you know what? I'll just call my lawyer. Now, a lot of times we say that, but we don't mean it. So my wife calls Legal Shield. Legal Shield says, send us the homeowner insurance documents because Legal Shield will also review documents up to 15 pages covered under your membership. They reviewed the docs. They wrote a letter for us. I never forget this. 3 days went by. Guess what was in our mailbox? A check for 3 years of overpayment from the same homeowner's insurance company that said there was nothing they can do, saw the value or need in sending us our check when our lawyers made that phone call. That's the power of having access to a Legal Shield membership. Not only that, they'll also give you access to online legal forms and videos. They'll prepare a last will and testament for you. I'm almost embarrassed to say at 28 years old when I joined Legal Shield, married with 2 kids at the time, I didn't have a last will and testament. Didn't feel like I needed one at that age. But death doesn't have an age attached to it. And Legal Shield gives you access to your last will and testament, a living will, a healthcare power of attorney, just for trying our membership. So if you're looking at this video for the first time without a last will and testament, like I was when I first saw this information, you get to have access to one now at no cost just for taking advantage of this membership. We'll also assist you with traffic-related issues, trial defense, both pre-trial and representation at trial, family and domestic services, including uncontested divorce, uncontested adoption, uncontested separation and annulment, and even uncontested name change. In addition to that, we have IRS audit assistance, and we get a 25% preferred member discount on matters that fall outside of the 100% coverage. Who's covered by the membership? The member's spouse, any never married dependent children under the age of 26 living at home. Also dependent children under the age of 18 from whom the member is a legal guardian of, and full-time college students up to the age of 26, never married, and also dependent children. And physically and mentally disabled children living at home regardless of age, all under one membership. This is awesome because when I added my teenage son to my auto insurance policy, guess what? You're right. Our insurance for my son costs more than my wife and I combined. So here we have this family protected all under one membership. Now we have a second plan that we offer, fighting against the #1 consumer complaint category for almost a dozen years. It's called identity theft. Identity theft manifests itself in many different ways: credit fraud, Social Security fraud, driver's license fraud, medical fraud, and even criminal and character fraud. Victims often face issues such as problems securing a loan, harassment from debt collections, possible arrest from crimes committed by the identity thief. Now, we have two plans. One is an identity theft standard plan and the other a premium package. They both cover the member and their spouse, and we even have a safeguard for children up to 8 dependents. Now, what makes our service so different is we have comprehensive restoration. We even have credit report with score analysis, unlimited identity consultation, and with the standard plan, you actually have single bureau credit monitoring and activity alerts. But with the premium package, you have triple bureau credit monitoring activity alerts. You have Web Watcher because thieves are trading information back and forth through the internet now, public persona because sometimes there's a change of address and you really didn't move. Sex offender search, Social Security skip trace, and even lost wallet assistance. Now, we use a company called Kroll who provides these services exclusively to Legal Shield members. Kroll is a world-leading risk consulting firm. They have a Fortune 500 clientele and they're prepaid and ready to advise. Our members even get benefits on computer and office supplies, rental cars, cell phone services, financial services, auto discounts, and even travel. So let's say that you are my attorney. And I came to you and I said, look, I don't just want a lawyer, I want a law firm. Because every lawyer doesn't know every area of law, like every doctor doesn't know every area of medicine. In fact, if my father was a physician, I wouldn't cancel my health care. So I want access to lawyers. Not only that, I want a couple of you to keep a cell phone on just in case I need you at 2 o'clock in the morning. I want you to wake up, be coherent, and answer my questions in an emergency situation. How much would you charge me monthly? Forget the hourly rate. Every month, I'll stroke you one check. How much? Well, people tell me hundreds, some say thousands. Even some of my friends that are lawyers say you couldn't afford me. So can you believe we offer a legal plan for only $1 a day? And you have this type of peace of mind. You can also add on an identity theft plan, which is typically $14.95 per month, but you get a $5 savings when you couple it with our legal plan, which makes it $9.95. You can also add on an identity theft premium package, which is typically $29.95. But when coupled with our legal plan, it's only $19.95. So there's a $10 savings there. You can also choose additional benefits through our supplements, like our trial defense supplement for only $9.95. That adds an additional 100 hours on top of your legal plan. How about the home business supplement? Maybe you own a home business, or maybe you own the daycare that they were charging me for. What a great opportunity to protect your business for only $9.95. So let's give an example. $19.95 for a legal plan. Let's say you want to protect your family from identity theft. You'd add on, let's say, the standard identity theft plan, which is $9.95. And maybe you want to protect yourself additionally with the trial defense supplement. That's an additional $9.95. So now that total is $39.85, still about $1 a day to have access to our legal plan and our identity theft plan along with one of the supplements. So for about $1 a day, isn't it worth protecting your family? Listen, I've been involved with Legal Shield for a while now, and I've never had anyone tell me that's way too much for a lawyer. $1 a day? I've only had folks say, how can you do this for $1 a day? Well, it's not my dollar, your dollar, but all these dollars added up with over 1 million voluntary subscribers paying every single day. This is huge. So now when I call, I'm a $1 a day client, but I'm also treated like a multi-million-dollar client. And when I let people know about Legal Shield, we actually get paid for it. So let's watch a quick video to find out a little bit more about what it feels like to be a part of the Legal Shield opportunity.
Whatever success story you envision for yourself, it can begin by offering Legal Shield. Whether you want additional income, want to set your own hours, or just want to help the people around you, Legal Shield is the opportunity for you. But what makes Legal Shield stand out even more? The fact that the Legal Shield associates are genuinely proud of the product they offer. The feeling of satisfaction they get from empowering their friends, family, and community. The knowledge that by sharing Legal Shield with someone, they're making a positive impact in that person's life by offering the ability to speak to an attorney about any issue without worrying about the cost. Legal Shield is your chance to make real money while also making a real difference in people's lives. And that's something to be proud of.
They're getting basically a law firm at their beck and call. It's a really powerful product to have. They're able to get their questions answered. It doesn't matter what the question is about. It doesn't matter what area of law they've got questions about. They're able just to call and get that answered. They're able to get their contracts and documents reviewed. So before signing anything, having the power. I think that's a really powerful thing, is to have an attorney review a contract before you sign it.
With Legal Shield, you aren't alone. Learning a new product can be confusing, but Legal Shield makes it as easy as possible to hit the ground running. As a new Legal Shield associate, you'll receive a starter kit specifically designed to help you jumpstart your business, complete with startup materials, training, and other information so you can get started immediately. And with over 40 years in business, the company knows how to set associates up to succeed.
There's this great saying, is that you're in business for yourself, but you're not in business by yourself. And that's what I love, is the support. You have great support, mentorship every step of the way, and that's why I like the infrastructure, because it's incentivized to really help those that want it and that are looking to grow and get ahead.
But Legal Shield support doesn't end at startup. Legal Shield also offers extensive training and sales tools along the way, with plenty of online resources and sales materials to help drive your success. Plus, you can join the exciting community of Legal Shield associates ready to help each other along the way. Participate in seminars, business briefings, trips, and more as you build your team and your business.
It's absolutely a blast. It really is, because you get to build relationships that you would just, there's so many people that I know now that I would never have known before if it wasn't for this wonderful opportunity, which I believe is more of a career than an opportunity. We have friends across the country that we pick up and speak with at any given time. Our conventions are like a family reunion. The trips that we go on is the same. We can't wait